Filipinos have been coming to Alberta since the 60s, and I am one of them. And as I attempted to connect with my community, I wondered, why don't we have our own space for cultural events, community activities, and supporting each other? Many cultural groups have their own buildings to do this. Can the Filipinos in Edmonton finally have our own? This is the story.
$175,000 Filipinos in Alberta.
75,000 Filipinos in Edmonton and area.
Hundreds of Filipino organizations,
interest groups, and businesses.
Multiple initiatives, classes, events, and celebrations.
showcasing the rich Filipino culture and heritage.
It's time. It's time to unite and establish a facility that will amplify our efforts as one community.
It's time to share our culture and heritage
With all Canadians and to be part of a robust intercultural city.
It's time that we establish the Edmonton Philippine International Center.
The Edmonton Philippine International Center. The Edmonton Philippine International Center.
Filipino spirit shines through.
The Filipino spirit shines through.
There was this empty building that used to be the cultural center called Celtic Hall. Turns out, it's been unused for a few years and it is available for lease. So now the Epic board had to make a very big, very risky, and very quick decision. And they decided to go for it, to take a leap of faith. They signed a lease in the spring of 2023 so that they have an actual building that they can showcase, not just to the people living in Edmonton, but most especially to the Filipinos living in Edmonton, that this building could potentially be our new home.
So it was in the dead of the winter. We came here, there had no heating, there was no electricity, it was really cold. Everything was covered in snow. And the old furniture was still here, like everything was still here. But we saw the potential. It had everything that the community said they wanted.
The conversation, the spark, the enthusiasm that came from Tita Ida caused a ripple effect. By the way, I address her as Tita. It's an important honorific that we use as a sign of respect for people that we treat as our own aunts and uncles, even though we're not biologically related to them. At the earliest possibility, the Epic board organized a community volunteer bayanihan cleanup of the space. I knew about bayanihan growing up. We did it all the time. It's a custom that is all about helping one another, especially in times of need. For the longest time, I thought it originates from the word bayan, meaning town or community, since it's about serving the community. But I heard that apparently it's from the word bayani, meaning hero. Both origins work for me, as they both capture what the concept is about: the heartfelt, selfless, heroic, community-oriented act of serving each other for a bigger goal. The most iconic image to describe the bayanihan spirit is when neighbors literally move your family home to a new location. Only this time around, it's not just the home of one family. It's building the community and cultural center, the home for all of the Filipinos in Edmonton.
Our community is so fragmented, and that's not reflect on our character. We're like that because geographically we're more than 7,400 islands, right? And so we tend to go into silos. The fact that we have more than 170 languages already, that's our nature. But we're here. We're not in the Philippines. We're in a foreign country that we've consciously adopted as our home. And I think we should work as one and be united. And so this is that manifestation, right? If we are able to do this, then we can do so many things beyond the Philippine Center.
Ready, 1 and 2.
A well-renowned choral group from the Philippines, the University of the Philippines Madrigal Singers, came here to perform. They had a Canada-wide tour, and then they went to the Edmonton Philippine International Center to hold a singing workshop. It was just so beautiful to see my fellow Filipino-Edmontonians spending time, learning, connecting, and having fun with a very talented group from the Philippines. Every time I attended or have heard of an event held here, I could feel this deep sense of optimism and awe. Many people claim how wonderful it felt to speak of a venue as our place, to declare that it is happening at the Edmonton Philippine International Center's main event hall just felt right. Maybe, finally, this is it. The multi-purpose space that the community have been searching for and definitely deserved. In February 2024, EPIC held their annual general meeting to vote the new board. Harlick, who was one of the founding board members, became the president, and Tita Ida became an advisor to the board. And a bunch of new board members were voted in. I know a lot of these people. They are very involved already in the Filipino community here in Edmonton. So I was feeling really optimistic that they will be able to move the organization forward and take it to where it needs to go. After the election, I talked to Kuya Harlick about the future of EPIC for the upcoming year.
I think with any relationship with our landlord and all that, there's always room to be better. So that's the thing that we're really trying to pursue, is to have a better relationship with the landlord, have more communication. And I'm very optimistic that we will soon see eye to eye in terms of our vision and what they can deliver for us. So really, it's all about just being able to communicate. I'm very optimistic, and I'm happy to take on this role of, let's say, head negotiator in terms of really hammering down the details of our agreements.
The EPIC Hall is making a big impact, not just to the Filipinos in Edmonton, but in Alberta, across Canada, and our homeland.
First of all, welcome to EPIC, or the Edmonton Philippine International Center. Palakpakan naman po natin yung EPIC, where the Filipino community can call its home. So, ipopromote ko lang if you have any events.
At mo'y tagumpay na naglilingling, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim.
With representatives and presenters from the Department of Science and Technology, right from the Philippines. Even the Consul General, Zaldi Patron, whose headquarters is in Calgary, came to Edmonton to visit. At the beginning of the town hall was the induction event for the newly elected board members of the Edmonton Philippine International Center that were elected just a few months ago.
Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate all the men and women, the people behind this very noble project.
And repeat after me. I state your name. Having been elected as board member and officer of the Edmonton Philippine International Center.
I know it took a lot of efforts and took a lot of time for our Filipino community here in Edmonton to have its own Filipino community center. But that dream has been realized through this EPIC.
And then, all of a sudden, everything changed. Through a Facebook post in April-May 2024, I learned that Epic had left the Celtic Hall. I was devastated and heartbroken. Given that I knew the Epic board members, I had faith that whatever led to their departure was not out of malice or wrongdoing on their part. But I wonder, what would the rest of the Filipino community think? Would they be angry or hostile that this goal that has come closer to becoming a reality be taken away all of a sudden? Or worse, would it reinforce the skepticism and hopelessness about this dream in the first place? What would Epic do now?
Yes, everybody's heard. We ended our lease with the old location.
A new lease agreement, which would require more than what was originally offered to us. Essentially, fixing up the whole infrastructure, maintaining kitchen and buying kitchen equipment. I'm like, that is not already within the mandate of Epic.
I know for people outside looking in, it seems like a dramatic about face. Like it feels like it's so sudden. Mm-hmm. But for people involved, like those in the know, it's been months of ongoing negotiations and then talk of the possibility of pulling out and all that. But at the end of the day, we have to really take into consideration what works best for the community and what works best for Epic.
And we consulted a lot of people, lawyers, property managers, engineers, on how would this look like, how can we make it work, and all that.
So the board unanimously voted to move out of the old space.
Epic operated for like 3 years without infrastructure. Right? We were still doing programs. It's just putting a pause and maybe rethinking ways. So yeah.
I was humbled and amazed of what the board was able to do in the few months of the spring and summer 2024. The key word here is pivot. And the art exhibit that was supposed to be at the now former Celtic Hall was moved to the Millwoods Senior and Multicultural Center. I actually had my own art exhibit there. I must say it was a nice space. But that morning, there was a hiccup, and the entrance door was locked and we couldn't bring our stuff in. The anxiety and frustration of being locked out was palpable. But thankfully, we managed to have the space open just in time. Epic continued to do work. They conducted a fundraiser so that Epic has operating funds. Selling donuts with a good profit margin was very successful. In addition to raising funds for their operations, they also raised funds to help Filipinos in need, such as the victims of the factory fire in Trochu, Alberta that summer. Epic partnered with another organization in Edmonton called Heart of Yeg Filipino Community to integrate a fundraiser as part of their 17th religious fiesta honoring a saint from Taguig City.
We had the Santerra Meat Factory fire. It's a small town outside of Edmonton, somewhere near Calgary. It has about 1,000 residents, and the people there are mostly employed by the meat factory. So with the burning of their main industry, the meat factory, over 100 residents lost their jobs. So, and out of those people, there are about 56 Filipinos who lost their jobs, and about 36 of them are temporary foreign workers. So meaning, now that the factory has closed, they are without jobs, and their status here in Canada are, unsure yet. So right now, they do not have as much access to government relief and government support. That's why We are organizing these different donation drives throughout Edmonton to make sure that they are supported while they are having to cope with this tragedy.
In the spring of 2024, EPIC found a temporary space to continue their work. EPIC moved downtown to a place called Edmonton Intercultural Center. It's an old brick school that was converted into office space that is now rented by dozens of organizations. When these organizations need to host an event or activity, they have multiple spaces they can choose to book. The green space, the gym, multiple classrooms and halls inside the building. Best of all, no one group is fully responsible for maintaining the whole building. Operating and maintaining a building is a lot of work. The responsibilities are endless, from renovating and making sure that the building is functional, well insulated, no leaks, to organizing bookings, safety, cleanup, and more. EPIC's board of directors and supporters that are all volunteers, but still, they need a place to call their headquarters as they continue to build awareness, build more support, and explore more options. As I toured the building and attended the first workshop hosted by EPIC, I thought the building has a lot of positives to it. There's many spaces to use. The maintenance and security are handled by the actual staff of the building. This meant that the board of directors of EPIC can focus on outreach and serving the community. Perhaps a shared space can be a good alternative for now.
One more epic!
Kasaysayan in Tagalog means history. I realized I need to research more about our community's history here. And I learned that Filipinos from decades ago did the same thing. They established our own hall in Edmonton. Around that time, a Filipino organization called Philippine Bayanihan Association in Alberta, or PBAA, was formed to bring together the much smaller Filipino community back then. Tita Annie is the current president of this organization that is still active today. And even then, there was a need for a building to gather the community. This was the site of the Filipino Community Hall from decades ago. Tita Annie shared that back in June 1987, the PBAA bought a former church that was made into the Philippine Community Center at the time. Around a decade after it opened, because of the recession and loss of government grants at the time, the center was closed. They sold the building for $800,000 and decided to make a legacy in a different way. They donated the money to different places, including to a number of hospitals. This building is now serving other cultural and social organizations in the city. It feels like history is repeating itself. Why is having a building for the Filipino community important? And does the community have what it takes to make it happen? So, in the tradition of all the Filipinos the world over, I went back to the titas for their wisdom and insight. Maybe they can help me answer my questions.
In a perfect world, would be nice to have its own building, the Edmonton Philippine International Center.
I believe there's about 30 plus organizations in Edmonton alone and about 60,000 Filipinos in Alberta.
More than 80.
Edmonton, 80,000 now. So with that many Filipinos, I think we could all get together to have our own building that we can call our own.
So it would be great, really. It's a dream to hopefully become a reality to have our own Epic Center.
We need a place where we can have our seniors go and have some fun and have our children go and get together and learn our language, learn our culture in. It should be a place that we can learn about our home.
We have to have our vision again. We revisit that. What do we want to happen in year 1, year 2, year 3? It's not an overnight that we can have that building.
So please, I would really like this dream to be all Filipinos working together, all groups working together.
We're not in the Philippines. We're in a foreign country that we've consciously adopted as our home, and I think we should work as one.
The efforts to bring the community together behind the idea of this all-in-one community building continues to be a struggle. As generations of Filipinos in Edmonton become more aware of this need, I'm hoping that the drive to make this goal a reality, to attain it and sustain it, would continue beyond the founders from 2019. Pag-asa in Tagalog means hope. And a lot of pag-asa is needed to make this dream a reality. To those who haven't heard about EPIC until now, there's a few things I wanted to tell them. To be proud of our fellow Filipinos who are working hard to build something bigger than themselves. To lend a helping hand to give this ambitious dream a better chance of becoming a permanent reality. Yes, to celebrate and admire the tenacity and resilient attitude of Filipinos. Most importantly, to be part of this story in the making.